We're so glad that you're here today. If you have ever experienced racism or being excluded because let's say you're not Caucasian, you're something other, you're going to love my next guest. Her name is Sonia Antaki, and she's written a book called Red Dove, Tell Truth to Darkness. And she is especially sensitive to the Native American culture. Sonia, welcome.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
I'm so glad that you're here. What a timely message. I mean, this is your time really to get the word out. What is the reason, first of all, that you wrote the book?
I think I related to the character. Now, she's a fictional character. Mm-hmm. She's walking between worlds. Red Dove is a 14-year-old Lakota girl.
Okay.
Half Lakota, half white. I'm not Native. I'm non-Native, but I'm an immigrant, and I understand the feeling of being an outsider looking in, and I very much feel like I walk between worlds. My Native friends, Linda Six Feathers, Calvin and Michelle Spotted Elk, and their daughter Lily, who's my goddaughter, and Mary Putoff, who's a Native educator, have taught me so much about Native people. And I think it's something that people can relate to. I'm guessing that there are a lot of us who feel like we're outsiders looking in, might be mixed blood, they might be between cultures, or they simply might be at an age. And the book is written for young people who are between adulthood and childhood. So
very vulnerable age where it could make a big difference, right?
I'm sorry?
It's a very vulnerable age where it could make a big difference.
It's a very vulnerable age. It's a very powerful age. And I find that, girls at right about the age of 10, 11, 12, 13 are on the threshold of something important. And that's an age where they can make major decisions that affect their lives. I think that it's something that adults can relate to as well. So bringing those worlds together is the theme of the book. And again, that's something I think that people feel very often, like outsiders looking in.
Absolutely. So really an awareness is why you wrote it. But what's relevant about the book now?
Right now, and I'm, how shall I say, it's painful and it's also gratifying that there is suddenly interest in Native culture, history in this country. The stories about boarding schools, Indigenous boarding schools, and the mass graves of children having come to light in Canada and the US bring the spotlight on Native history. I started writing the books. There are 3. It's a trilogy. I started writing them over 10 years ago, just to bring awareness, and also because it was a story that fed me, that resonated very strongly with me. And now, finally, there seems to be attention paid to this really important and neglected topic.
Would you share about the main character, or the important characters in your book?
Well, Red Dove is a 14-year-old, half Lakota, half white girl. She is forced to attend boarding school. It's 1891. The her people are hungry. The buffalo are disappearing, and the decision is made. She has to go to boarding school and leave her family, or else they would starve. So she goes along with that, suffers at the hands of the nuns who run the school, and at the same time, the tragedy of Wounded Knee happens. All of this is the backdrop for her story, which is her coming to understanding, and this is the first book, Red Dove, Listen to the Wind, which was published a couple years ago, about the need for listening and empathy. Her grandfather gives her a pouch, a medicine pouch, which allows her to enter the thoughts and feelings of other people. And it's a blessing and a curse. It means that she can participate in their happiness, in their joy, and she also has to feel their suffering.
Why is empathy such a big part of this? Why is that an important part?
It's critical, I think. Well, for several reasons. One, as a young person moving from childhood to adulthood, it's very important to develop that understanding of other people. That's part of maturity. It's also important in our world today.
Yeah.
This theme of bringing worlds together is probably as relevant as it ever has been in our society right now. So the first key is to learn to listen and understand other people and walk in their shoes.
That's so important.
So, and the second book, which has just come out, is Red Dove: Tell Truth to Darkness, and it's the second piece of the toolkit that Red Dove develops. She has to learn to speak her truth. She has to develop the courage to do what's needed and act. And again, this relates to young people, especially girls. Find at that point in their lives, it's very hard for them to take action and to a young girl will feel very powerful and do things and take on challenges. As she develops into teenagerhood, suddenly there are all these barriers, the coming sexuality, all the issues about who she is in the world come into play. And I find that the need to express oneself is even more important than ever. So this is about speaking your truth.
So the first part is listening. The second one is speaking your truth. Being it's a trilogy, is there a third piece to that third book?
The third piece will come out in 2022. And it's about creating your reality to bring your worlds together. So it's about using those pieces to create the world that you want to see. And again, young people can do that, but they need the tools to do it. So Red Dove, it has, as I said, she has gone to boarding school. She's developed the ability to listen. In the second book, she goes with Buffalo Bill on his Wild West tour. This is something that was part of Native history. Lakota people joined, as well as other Native members of other Native nations, joined Buffalo Bill to tour Europe. So Red Dove develops a friendship with Annie Oakley, and tours Europe. She brings her pony Winchinchla, and in the third book, she returns to the U.S. and, as I said, brings it all together.
Sonia, what do you hope that a teenage girl will take away, remember, really be impacted by? What do you hope happens when?
I want her to develop the courage to do what she needs to do to feel at home in the world. I think that's what the character of Red Dove is striving to do, to feel at home in her world, wherever it is. And for her, it is about being back on the prairie where her people live.
I love that. And where is the book available as we begin to wind down this interview?
The book is available at all major sources, Amazon, of course, bookshop.org, which is a wonderful resource, Target, Barnes & Noble, and indie bookstores everywhere. If it's not in the store, it can be ordered. And you can get information on my website, www.soniaantaki.com. I welcome questions. Can I just say?
Yes, please.
About it this morning. One of the things I would love to get from people is to hear their stories.
Okay.
How they've developed the ability to bring their worlds together.
I love that. Communication, conversation is always a good thing. Thank you for joining us today. Have a great day.
Thank you.